Hey, how's it going, guys? This is going to be my Appalachian Trail question and answer video. I posted a video like 6 days ago asking y'all to leave some questions in the comments, and a lot of y'all did that. I tried making this video yesterday, and I just kept messing up, and the wind was really bad, so the audio wasn't very good, so I just decided to completely make it over again. And what I realized is it's going to be a pretty long video, so I'm going to split it into two parts just to make it easier to upload and make it a little bit more watchable. So let's just get right into it. April H and Gringo Bandito, they asked some similar questions. April asked, what was the best moments you had on trail and what were some of the worst? Is there anything you would do differently? And Gringo Bandito, he asked, what was the worst part of through hiking the AT? I wouldn't do anything differently. First of all, I think everything happens for a reason, and I wouldn't go back and change anything. What were some of the best moments? These are always the toughest questions to answer for me because you have a lot of awesome moments, and picking the best is always hard. But you know, the best way I can answer that, the start of the trail was awesome. Going into the unknown, not knowing exactly what you're getting into. Everything's new, you know, you're excited, full of energy. And finishing, of course, completing that goal that I've had for a long time, that was great. You know, there's some days that you know, you could be really down, like at the start. I remember the day I summited Washington, climbing out of Crawford Notch. I was just so mad for some reason. The humidity, the climb was incredibly hard. I was just so angry, and you know, I just kept hiking that whole day, and I ended up doing like 18 miles, summited Washington, and ended up at Madison Spring Cut, and that was an awesome day. I really enjoyed just hiking throughout that whole day, except for the beginning, but you know, you just get over that. And what were some of the worst? Hiking in the rain always sucked. Northern Pennsylvania, those rocks, they sucked. And that's really the only two things that really stick out to me that were some of like the worst moments. Other than that, it was usually pretty good. Always got mad when I fell. Those are some of the worst moments. And I didn't fall. I fell once in Georgia, and then like I think I only fell one time, and then once I hit like the Whites, or you know, the northern part of the trail where the terrain gets pretty rough, I fell like 3 or 4 times. Not like hard falls, but like kind of like just ended up on your butt all of a sudden, and that always got to me because I don't know, I'm not a clumsy person, and falling is annoying. So yeah, that's the best way I can answer those questions. So Russ Wilson, he says, have followed you from the beginning and have thoroughly enjoyed your journey from afar. One question: how often did you truly hang a bear bag? That's a good question. I'd say more often than not I hung a bear bag. I'd say probably about 65 to 70% of the time I would hang a bear bag. In the southern part of the trail, they have cable systems where you just attach your bear bag to the carabiner and hoist it up in a tree. So those are always very nice and convenient to have. So whenever those were available, I would hang one. And you know, I wasn't very worried about bears, so there were some times where, you know, if there was a chance of rain, or you know, I was just tired and I just didn't feel like hanging a bear bag, there weren't any good trees around, I just wouldn't hang one, and I would just sleep with it in my tent. But towards the end of the trail, I would usually hang one just because I didn't want mice getting into my bag. There were a couple of times where I would wake up to my bag being rustled around, and I have to, you know, scare the mice away. They never like really got my food, but it was just annoying to have to wake up and shoo them away, and they would always come back. They are not very afraid to come back and try and get that food again. So more often than not, if you're afraid of bears, just hang your bear bag, and that'll completely eliminate or I guess not completely, but more than likely they just want your food and not you. So yeah, good question. Corling99 asked, did you guys do any cooking on the trail? I assume you mean like cooking on an open fire or something like that. Not really. You know, we would usually just cook our pasta sides or ramen in our stoves. We never really, you know, after like the first month, you're too tired to really want to make a fire. So we never really did that. Never went to town, you know, hoping to come back out on the trail and cook a steak or some hot dogs or whatever. So that wasn't really something we ever did. Daniel Bresky and Morgan Man 1975, they asked some similar questions. Daniel asked, what was the cost of your hike and did you have a budget? And then Morgan Man says, lots of people like to hear about budgeting the AT. Very little info is available about it. What is your take on the subject? So I think I briefly mentioned this in my video when I was going into the Shenandoahs. I saved up for a year before the ATS. Started working like March 2015, started the trail in February 2016, and so I was able to save up $7,500 for the trail alone, just like the gear, not the gear, but the food, the stays. You know, those were what I had to spend as far as the trail, and I also spent like another $1,200 on gear. You know, I didn't want crappy gear. I wanted good gear to last me the whole thing, and everything did. These flies, but so $7,500 was what I had to spend on the trail, and only ended up spending $5,000 of it. And that's the general rule of thumb, is, you know, $1,000 per month will have, well, that's like a very, very comfortable comfortable budget. The first month, I remember I ended up spending a little bit over that. I spent like $1,200 the first month, and that's typical. Most people will spend the most in their first or like second months. And you know, that's, if you have a low budget, that can sometimes bite you in the butt, because if you splurge too much those first 2 months, then you know the rest 3 you're gonna have to be pretty mindful of how much money you're spending. And I never had to, you know, take my money into consideration. Like, I went into town, I got what I wanted, I ate wherever I wanted to, and I never really worried about it. And that's why I saved up so much, is because I didn't want the you know, have to be in the back of my mind like, oh, I can't buy this Baconator because, you know, I gotta have enough money to make it to the end. So, you know, $1,000 per month, I think that's what you should set out for. You can definitely do it cheaper. You're just gonna have to be mindful of how much you're spending. Be pretty frugal when you go into town, and yeah, that's pretty much you know, what I saved up for and what my advice is. Clifton Conley Jr. asks, what did a typical resupply cost and for how many days? This kind of goes along with that. So you can typically budget, like, I say I spent probably about $15 per day on food. So the average would be probably 4 to 5 days between towns. So you're looking at, you know, $60 for an average resupply. That's for me personally. Dutch, he spent a lot less than me. He could spend like $30 for like a 4 or 5 day resupply. He did it, he was able to, you know, save a lot more money than me when resupplying. So I'm not really sure how he did it, but he always ended up spending a lot less than me at the supermarkets. So yeah, that's that. So that Camping Films asked, I'm looking for a great lightweight backpack and tent. Were you satisfied with the Tarp Tent Stratospire 1, or do you think there is a better tent to purchase? I was satisfied with it. I do think there's a better tent to purchase. I realized throughout the trail that I just wasn't using all of the tent. It's got 2 huge vestibules on the side and a pretty large sleeping area, and I would typically only use 1 vestibule at a time. So I think for the PCT, I'm gonna get a smaller tent, and which vice versa will probably make it a little bit lighter. So it's a great tent, don't get me wrong, but I just think for me personally, the size, it was a little too big, and you know, I'll cut down on weight by getting a smaller tent. Overall though, you know, it's a great tent, incredibly sturdy, very easy to set up, and yeah, highly recommended. This yellow jacket is so annoying. So the next question, Jameson Lackey asks, what are some of the lasting effects that are with you daily from the trail, pros and cons? So as far as cons, there really aren't any. The first like month and a half after I got back, my knees were still pretty sore, and they hurt every now and then. And I started going to the gym like 3 weeks after I got back, and when I tried to squat, my knees would really hurt pretty bad. So I wouldn't, I just stopped trying to do squats, and I just let my knees fully heal. So around like 2 months after I finished, my knees were good to go, and I was able to do squats again regularly. And as far as pros, you know, just the memories that you have, and the, you know, just experience the whole trail, and I mean, you learn a lot out there, a lot about yourself, and just, you know, basic things about backpacking and hiking and long distance hiking. So those are probably some of the biggest pros, is just what you learned and the memories that you have, and also the friendships that you make along the trail are really awesome. And thank goodness for social media, Facebook. I'm able to keep up with everybody, see what everybody else is doing after the trail, so that's pretty awesome. And yeah, I think that's it for that question. So I think this is going to be the end of the first part of this Q&A. Like I said, I'm going to break it up into 2 parts just to make it easier to upload. So yeah, I'll see y'all in the next part.